The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in Weston, West Virginia, stands as a haunting testament to a darker chapter in mental health history. Once a sprawling facility meant to house those suffering from mental illness, it became a site of both hope and despair, filled with stories of involuntary commitments and tragic outcomes. Today, it draws thrill-seekers and history buffs alike, eager to experience its renowned paranormal activity. Visitors arrive at the imposing structure, its Gothic architecture looming under the weight of the evening sky. The air buzzes with anticipation, as small groups gather for the tours that promise a glimpse into the asylum's storied past. The guides, well-versed in both the asylum's history and the myriad ghostly encounters reported within its walls, prepare to lead the curious into the depths of the building. As they step inside, the musty scent of aged wood and damp stone envelopes them. The guide begins recounting the asylum's history, detailing the overpopulation issues, the inhumane treatment methods, and the countless patients who never left. Whispers of former residents echo in the corridors, leaving an eerie sense of unease. Many believe that the spirits of those who suffered here still linger, the guide explains, gesturing to the darkened hallways that stretch out before them. Visitors often report hearing voices, footsteps, and even feeling a chill when no draft is present. The group moves through the main areas once bustling with staff and patients now eerily quiet. As they pass through the treatment areas, the guide shares chilling stories of the asylum's more brutal past. The tales of lobotomies and other crude treatments hang heavily in the air, and the visitors' imaginations run wild with the possibilities of what might have happened here. Suddenly, a faint sound captures their attention, a soft whisper that seems to drift through the air, barely audible yet undeniably present. A collective hush falls over the group, eyes wide with a mix of fear and fascination. The guide pauses, a knowing smile crossing their face. "You're not alone here," they say, as if inviting the spirits to reveal themselves further. They move deeper into the asylum, into rooms filled with remnants of the past, rusted beds, peeling paint, and faded photographs. Each corner seems to harbor its own secrets. The group listens intently as the guide recounts stories of ghostly encounters, including a woman in white said to wander the halls, searching for someone lost to her forever. As they enter the infamous surgical room, the temperature noticeably drops. A few in the group pull their jackets closer around them, while others pull out flashlights, casting beams of light against the darkened walls. The guide encourages them to keep their senses sharp. Many have claimed to feel a presence in this very room. Some say they can hear the echoes of cries from those who were treated here, the guide says, lowering their voice. Just then, a soft thud resonates from the far corner, sending shivers down everyone's spine. Eyes dart toward the sound, and a nervous chuckle ripples through the group as they exchange anxious glances. "Let's not be frightened," the guide reassures them. "These spirits often seek to connect, to share their stories. If you're open to it, you might just feel their presence." With the night deepening, the group ventures into the more isolated areas of the asylum, where reports of supernatural activity are most common. They pause in a dimly lit hallway, and the guide invites everyone to take a moment to listen. As silence blankets the space, soft whispers seem to float through the air, a blend of distant laughter and sorrowful cries. "Can you hear them?" the guide asks, a glimmer of excitement in their eyes. Those are the voices of the past, lingering in these halls. They want to be remembered. Several visitors, caught up in the atmosphere, close their eyes and concentrate. The whispers grow louder, more distinct, wrapping around them like a forgotten lullaby. One visitor swears they feel a gentle touch on their shoulder, while another claims to see a fleeting shadow darting past the edge of their vision. The group's collective heart rate quickens as they navigate through the asylum's depths, each creak of the floorboards and whisper of the wind heightening their senses. As they reach the old cafeteria, the guide shares the story of a particularly troubled soul, a patient who was said to have spent their final days alone in despair. Many claim to see her silhouette near the windows at dusk. A sudden chill sweeps through the room, and a flashlight flickers, plunging them into near darkness. Gasps echo as they scramble to turn it back on, laughter mixed with nervousness. "It's just the spirits playing with us," the guide chuckles, but even they can't hide the shiver running down their spine. As they conclude the tour, the group gathers in the courtyard under the stars. The night air is thick with stories, both shared and unspoken. Isla, still buzzing with the experience, feels a connection not just to the spirits of the asylum, but to the history they carry, stories of pain, resilience, and humanity. "Thank you for joining me tonight," the guide says, their voice filled with reverence. "Remember, these spirits are not just memories. They were once people with lives and stories just like ours. Share their tales, keep their memories alive." As the visitors begin to disperse, Isla lingers, her heart heavy with the weight of what she's experienced. She feels a calling to return, to learn more, to explore the depths of the asylum and the souls that reside within. With a final glance at the grand, haunting structure, she promises herself to uncover the stories that remain untold, ensuring that the voices of the past are honored and remembered. As she walks away, the faint sound of laughter and whispers follows her, a gentle reminder that the spirits of the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum will forever echo in the hearts of those who dare to listen. And in the quiet corners of her mind, she begins to weave her own story into the fabric of this haunted place, a tale of connection, compassion, and the enduring power of memory. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you liked this story. As Isla walked away from the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, she couldn't shake the feeling that something profound had awakened within her. The echoes of the past lingered in her mind, each whisper and shadow now a part of her narrative. She felt a pull to return, to delve deeper into the stories that had once haunted these halls. In the days that followed, Isla began her research. She pored over historical documents, patient records, and photographs from the asylum's early days. Each piece of information added layers to the stories she had heard during the tour. The faces of former patients began to come alive in her imagination, their struggles and triumphs resonating with her own. One evening, while sifting through an old book filled with testimonials from former staff and patients, Isla stumbled upon the name of a woman named Clara, who had been committed under tragic circumstances. Clara's story captivated her, a woman who had once been vibrant and full of life, but whose struggles with mental illness led to her tragic fate. Isla felt an urgent need to know more about Clara, to honor her memory and give voice to her experience. Determined, Isla returned to the asylum for another tour, this time armed with her newfound knowledge. As she arrived, she could feel the energy of the place thrumming in her veins. The guide from her previous visit, noticing her intensity, approached her with curiosity. "You're back," the guide said, a smile breaking across their face. "What brings you here again?" "I want to learn more about Clara," Isla replied, her voice steady. "I found her name in the records, and I feel a connection to her story. I want to understand what she went through." The guide's expression shifted, a mix of surprise and respect. "Clara's story is one of many that deserve to be told. I can show you some areas that were significant to her life here." With that, they embarked on a more personal tour, guiding Isla through the asylum's hidden corners, places not usually included in the standard visits. They made their way to a small, dimly lit room that had once served as a quiet space for patients to gather and reflect. The air felt heavy, steeped in memories. This was Clara's favorite spot, the guide explained softly. She would often come here to escape the chaos of the ward, to find solace in solitude. Isla stepped inside, her heart racing. She closed her eyes, trying to connect with the energy of the room. The silence was profound, yet she felt the lingering presence of Clara's spirit. Taking a deep breath, she whispered, "I'm here for you, Clara. I want to share your story." Suddenly, a chill swept through the room, and a whisper echoed in the air, almost as if in response. Isla opened her eyes, startled but exhilarated. "Did you hear that?" she asked the guide, who nodded, a knowing glint in their eyes. "Many have felt her presence here," they replied. "She seems to linger in spaces where she found peace." Isla felt an overwhelming sense of purpose. She wanted to ensure that Clara's voice was not just a fleeting whisper in the halls, but a powerful story that would resonate beyond the asylum's walls. Inspired, she made a plan to compile her findings, aiming to create a book that would intertwine the histories of all those who had suffered in the asylum, with Clara's story at its heart. As she returned to the asylum over the next few weeks, Isla gathered stories from other visitors and staff, documenting their experiences and connections to the spirits that haunted the building. She began to hold informal gatherings in the courtyard, inviting others to share their encounters and memories. The community grew, a circle of storytellers united by a shared goal to bring the past to life and give a voice to the voiceless. With each visit, Isla felt more attuned to Clara's spirit. She started to leave small tokens in the quiet room: a flower, a handwritten note, or a drawing, each an offering of remembrance. Visitors began to notice and added their own tokens, creating a small shrine of sorts, a testament to the connection they all felt. One night, during a particularly poignant gathering, a visitor named David shared his own story. He had lost a family member to mental illness and spoke passionately about the stigma surrounding it. His words struck a chord with Isla, igniting a desire to address these issues through her work. "We need to change the narrative," David said, his voice filled with emotion. "These stories matter. They deserve to be told, to be heard, and to create awareness about the realities of mental health." Isla nodded, the seeds of her project taking root in her mind. It was no longer just about Clara. It was about a collective understanding, a way to foster empathy and compassion through storytelling. With each new voice that joined the circle, the project expanded, blossoming into something bigger than she had initially envisioned. As the months passed, the asylum became a hub for community engagement, a place where stories were shared and healing began. Isla's book took shape, interweaving personal anecdotes with historical context, bringing to light the experiences of those who had suffered behind the asylum's walls. On the night of its launch, a sense of excitement filled the air. The courtyard was transformed into a space of celebration, adorned with twinkling lights and a small stage for speakers. As Isla took the microphone, her heart raced with anticipation. "Thank you all for being here tonight," she began, looking out at the faces gathered before her. "This book is a tribute to Clara and to everyone who has been affected by mental illness. It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and a reminder that we are not alone in our struggles." She spoke passionately about the journey that had brought her to this moment, the connections she had forged, the stories she had gathered, and the importance of continuing the conversation around mental health. The crowd listened intently, moved by her words and the weight of the stories she carried. As the evening unfolded, stories were shared, tears were shed, and laughter filled the air. The spirit of the asylum, once filled with despair, now thrummed with life and connection. And in the back of her mind, Isla felt Clara's presence, a silent affirmation that her story was finally being told. In that moment, surrounded by friends, family, and the spirits of the past, Isla knew that their collective voices would echo long after the night ended, resonating through time, reminding everyone that even in darkness, there is light to be found in shared stories, understanding, and compassion. As the night continued, the energy in the courtyard was electric. Isla's words had sparked something in the crowd, and soon, people began to share their own experiences with mental health stories of struggle, triumph, and healing. Each tale added another layer to the tapestry of voices that had emerged from the asylum. A woman named Sarah stepped forward, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "I spent years battling my own demons," she began, "but it was the stories of those who came before me, like Clara's, that gave me hope. I felt less alone when I learned about their struggles." As she spoke, a hush fell over the crowd. Isla watched as people nodded in understanding, their eyes reflecting a shared experience. The connection was palpable, binding them all in a moment of vulnerability and strength. The evening wore on, and after several heartfelt testimonials, Isla decided to invite everyone to participate in a group activity. "Let's create a living testament to our stories," she suggested. "I'd like each of you to write a message, anything you wish to say to someone struggling with mental health, or a note of remembrance for those we've lost. We'll hang them on this tree." The tree, a large oak at the edge of the courtyard, had been a silent witness to the stories shared that night. Isla envisioned it adorned with colorful ribbons, each carrying a message of hope, love, and remembrance. As people moved to gather supplies, there was a buzz of excitement. Some wrote carefully crafted notes, while others expressed their feelings through drawings and doodles. Isla felt a swell of pride as she watched the community come together, each message a testament to the healing power of sharing. Once everyone had finished, they gathered around the tree, and Isla invited them to hang their notes on its branches. The sight was beautiful, vibrant colors swaying gently in the evening breeze, each piece a unique expression of hope. "Let this tree be a reminder," Isla said, her voice filled with conviction. "The reminder that we are all connected, that our stories matter, and that together, we can create a supportive community." As the last note was hung, a sense of tranquility settled over the gathering. The air was thick with emotion, but also with a shared understanding of purpose. It was a night of healing, a moment of collective strength. As the evening drew to a close, Isla stood at the foot of the tree, feeling a sense of fulfillment wash over her. She had hoped to honor Clara, but in doing so, she had unearthed a much larger narrative, one that spanned generations and bridged the gap between past and present. As people began to leave, several approached Isla, expressing their gratitude for creating a space where they could share their stories. One man, tears glistening in his eyes, said, "You've turned this place into a sanctuary, a space where we can confront our pain and find comfort together." The sincerity in his voice touched Isla deeply. She realized that this was just the beginning. There was so much more work to be done to continue raising awareness about mental health and ensuring that the stories of those who had suffered were never forgotten. After the last of the attendees departed, Isla lingered by the tree, running her fingers over the notes that fluttered softly in the night breeze. She felt Clara's presence beside her, an affirmation that the work they had begun together would carry on. With renewed determination, Isla decided to organize more events, workshops focused on storytelling, mental health education, and community building. She envisioned inviting experts to speak and incorporating art therapy sessions, where participants could express their feelings through creative outlets. As she walked back toward the asylum, her heart swelled with possibility. She felt the weight of responsibility but also the thrill of the journey ahead. Isla knew she couldn't do it alone, and as she glanced up at the stars twinkling overhead, she realized she had a community ready to stand beside her. In the weeks that followed, Isla worked tirelessly to bring her vision to life. She reached out to local mental health organizations, educators, and artists, weaving a network of support and expertise. Each new connection fueled her passion, and she could feel Clara's spirit guiding her every step of the way. When the next storytelling event was announced, the excitement in the community was palpable. Word had spread, and more people showed up than ever before, eager to participate in the healing process. The courtyard was filled with laughter, tears, and an undeniable sense of belonging. As Isla stood on the stage once more, she felt a surge of gratitude. "Thank you all for being here," she said, her voice steady. "Tonight is not just about sharing stories. It's about creating a culture of understanding and compassion. We're building a community that values every voice." The night unfolded with stories of resilience, of families torn apart and healed, of battles fought in silence. Each narrative echoed through the courtyard, reverberating off the asylum's walls, reminding everyone present that they were not alone. As the last speaker concluded, a warm breeze swept through the courtyard, rustling the leaves of the oak tree adorned with notes. Isla paused, closing her eyes for a moment, feeling a sense of peace wash over her. Clara was there, a quiet presence that filled the space with warmth and hope. In that moment, Isla realized that her journey had only just begun. The stories would continue to flow, weaving a rich tapestry of human experience that would bridge the gap between the past and the present. She felt invigorated, ready to face the challenges ahead. As the gathering came to an end and people began to disperse, Isla remained by the tree, allowing the energy of the night to settle within her. She looked up at the stars, a sense of purpose lighting her way forward. With each new event, each shared story, and each connection forged, Isla knew they were not just honoring the spirits of the asylum. They were fostering a movement. a movement that would ensure that the voices of those who had suffered were heard, and that healing could be found in the unlikeliest of places. And so, under the canopy of stars and the watchful branches of the oak tree, Isla felt ready to embrace the future, one filled with stories waiting to be told, spirits yearning for recognition, and a community poised for change. The journey ahead was uncertain, but with Clara's spirit beside her and a community united in purpose, Isla knew they could make a difference. The echoes of the past would continue to guide them, inspiring hope and resilience for all who dared to listen. With each gathering at the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, Isla's vision came to life. The community embraced the movement, sharing their stories and supporting one another. Clara's spirit, along with those of countless others, seemed to thrive in this new environment of understanding and compassion. Isla published her book, intertwining the narratives of past patients with current voices. It resonated widely, leading to further discussions about mental health and the importance of storytelling. The oak tree in the courtyard became a symbol of hope, adorned with notes of love and remembrance, each representing a life touched by the stories shared. As the years passed, the asylum transformed from a place of sorrow into a sanctuary of healing. Workshops flourished, and community bonds strengthened, with Isla at the helm, continuously honoring Clara and all who had suffered. One quiet evening, as Isla stood beneath the stars by the oak tree, she felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment. The echoes of the past had found their place in the present, creating a legacy of resilience that would endure for generations. She smiled, knowing that together, they had turned pain into purpose, forever changing the narrative of the asylum and its spirits. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you liked this story.